And we're live. We are live and direct. Welcome along. Thank you very much for joining us. Hello to all new subscribers, and an even bigger hello to all the support from the older subscribers. Woo! It's been a rush getting all this together, getting the guest that I'm going to have on in place. It's been a rush, pretty much last minute because of certain news. Also, well, with Katie, I must admit this was a pre-arranged recording, but nice one, guys. We've got Katie Jane Swallow from Children.News, and we've also got Jason, courtesy of the A-Team. We're going to be discussing a few points. There's that many things to cover. I don't think there's a stream long enough to do it. So these are only a few little snippets that we've kind of just picked out, and we're going to run through it. We're going to start off, whether Jason wants to talk about this or have a look later on, just sit in the background. But we're going to start off with Katie Jane talking about her event and also the goings on in Barrow over the weekend. Other than that, guys, welcome along Red Pill Phil on YouTube.
Let me tell you why you're here. You're here because you know something. What you know you can't explain, but you feel it. You felt it your entire life. That there's something wrong. You don't know what it is, but it's there. Like a splinter in your mind, driving you mad. It is this feeling that has brought you to me. Red pill, Phil.
Yes, loving that. How you doing, Katie?
I didn't even realise you put me on screen then.
Oh, bit. Right, I thought your mic was out there. I'm going to say hello to Jason as well. How you doing, buddy?
How you doing? How you doing, one and all?
Oh, good to see you both. Thank you both for taking the time out. Katie Jane Swallow, meet Jason from the A-Team. Jason from the A-Team. This is Katie Jane Swallow from Children Matter.News.
Hi, Jason. It's an absolute honour to meet you.
Honour to meet you too. I'm a great fan of your work, and you do a lot of really good work. You really do.
Try to help out where we can.
Indeed. Yeah. As us all, that's why we're sat here tonight.
Guys, I am missing a front tooth, so, you know,
wow.
Trying to keep the lip down a bit, you know.
Don't worry, sir. Don't worry. As long as the right words come out, that's all we're worried about, mate. That's fine. And I know we can always bank on that with you, so that's good anyway. So, guys, I mean, it's been a crazy few months, and it has been a bit weird, and it doesn't stop changing, the landscape changing. The anxiety levels just keep rising because spontaneous acts, even though we can kind of foresee it, the fact that they're happening the way they're happening on top of one another, it's knocking us all for six, isn't it?
It is. It is. And it's been I mean, we had the COVID, we had the lockdown, we had race war. You know, this in truth being orchestrated by so many different people, so many different things. I mean, here's where I am on it. I don't think anybody in the whole world that watched the murder of George Floyd didn't feel anger, didn't feel compassion, and certainly didn't feel aggrieved at all. But here we are, after the murder. There seem to be two different sort of directions that America went, first and foremost. First, it was to do with race. It was to do with race because it was a white police officer that murdered a black man live on video. Then it was to do with the authority and the establishment and the police themselves. So there was this thing going on between the two. So when we first saw the Black Lives Matter sort of take to the streets in their first marches, it was first and foremost about race and the way that blacks are treated because of the racism, the white racism that's within the United States, but then it had the air of, but it's the authorities as well. It's to do with the police as well. The policing in America, the overreactionary policing, where they go in too hard. Sometimes they take people out of the equation for no apparent reason, draw their guns, and they kill people. That much is evident. That goes on in America every single day. But what we did see in America is we've seen a vast change in the way that the protests were actually geared up and how they were protesting. Now, yes, take to the streets, protest by all means, and protest for what you think you should be protesting for. Now, whether that be a white man killing a black man and it's a racial issue, or you feel that it's an authoritarian issue with police cracking down on predominantly more blacks than whites in America, or Hispanics, or any other creed or culture within America. But that's not what we saw. We saw the peaceful marches quickly descend into violence. Now,
Federal behaviour, Jason.
yes, yes. Now, I can understand when a mob is fickle and a mob is angry, you might get certain amount of altercations.
It's when it gets past, Jason. I've got to say this: it doesn't matter what group we're talking in, what demographic. We've been to marches up and down the country. Katie's organised many marches, attended marches, stewarded marches, been a voice at marches. If an ounce of the aggression, the violence would have been at any of them marches, it would have been castigated and locked under the jail. Even for turning up and just stand up to racism is deemed 10 times worse than what I've seen the press dole out in terms of the castigation with some of the nasty stuff that's going on in London. And we're not talking just the marches.
Can I talk quickly? There's a bit of an echo.
Have we got an echo?
Yeah.
Yeah, I can hear an echo.
Is that coming from both, Katie?
I'm not sure. I just noticed there was an echo in the background.
Yeah, I can hear your echo. Right, hold on. Jason, have you got a pair of headphones? Would that be it, Katie?
I have, but my headphone jack on my computer's broken.
Ouch. Right. Okay.
So I can't.
Yeah,
Do you have this playing as YouTube next to it?
yeah.
I didn't mean you.
Oh, right. Sorry.
No, I was just wondering if it's got an extra window up, because it might be just an echo through if there's another window. No. I mean, it's not bad. I don't think it'd do much damage anyway.
Yeah, I mean, you're coming through loud and clear on my end with no echo. Same with you, Phil. So I don't know. I mean, do you want me to turn my mic down a bit, or?
Yeah. Well,
I don't
know whether that would be solve the issue. To be fair,
No.
I don't know whether I'm just plug it back in just not to say that it will. Is that altered it in any way? You hear me?
Yeah,
That's actually a bit better.
is that better?
Hold on.
So we could blame Phil for it now.
It's Phil's fault, Katie. I mean, God. I mean, we come on here, we don't get paid. You know, we're
Me.
Yeah.
Look at me. I'm mashing up my own stream. And here's me. I was proudly going to start off by saying, I've done it for multitasking. I've broke the narrative that men cannot multitask, because I've got several things going on at once, and I'm going to be covering and interjecting and putting little bits in and listening and passing over. So I'm like, any man who gets grief off the woman about they can't multi-stream, send them the link to this stream, because by very nature, the narrative's bust up. But until I fucked up the bleeding sound, pardon my French. But anyway, Katie, here, bring you in at this point, because I know you done an event, didn't you, this weekend, or weekend just gone. Do you want to just explain a little bit about that? Because you come into contact with Black Lives Matter that will simultaneously protesting where you was at the same time. Am I right in saying that?
Yeah, I mean, they started at 1, I started at 11. So, I mean, we got there with time-wise. But what we were doing was basically putting together a memorial. because there's too many times that we're out there fighting on the street, and we are all out there doing it for a reason. We're all out there fighting for someone that we've lost, something that we've lost, and that's what it was about. I mean, so many times we've been out there fighting for other people, but no one actually gets to see who we are. So we thought, why not this once, at least one time, actually show people exactly who we are, that we are children, we are parents, we are family members who are mourning what's happened to us, what's happened to our children, what's happened to our friends, our family, our veterans, and our country. We are all people who are just mourning and fighting for a better future. So that's what the day was about. It was about pushing that forward and showing people who we are. So we saved the loudspeakers and the megaphones until we got down to the cenotaph. We had a couple of minutes, we had 2 minutes silence for everyone we've lost and for our mourning. And we also had the 32-second silence along with the wreath laying for veterans as well. And the veterans who lost their lives to suicide since everything that's been going on. So yeah, it was just about coming together. Obviously, it was doing really well, and then there was a slight clash from one person on our side and one person on their side, and it was only a slight clash. It was a misunderstanding. A couple of kids were around looking and trying to see what it was that we were doing, and yeah, it kind of got taken out of hand. It didn't kick off too much. There was a few harsh words thrown. There were a few chants from both sides. And we just moved on because, we'd done what we were there to do. We'd done our speeches. We were there. We shared our message. So, we decided before we ended up provoking the mass of them that were further down the street when we're literally there for just our kids. We didn't want their message to get overshadowed and destroyed because at the end of the day, through everything that we're doing, it's the kids that matter in all this.
Well, yeah, it's two different organisations, one a lot bigger than the other, one a lot more toxic than the other, it has to be said as well. But we've both got a right to redress. Was the other one being just as positive, apart from the confrontation that you had? Was their protest, by and large, being positive to the outside world, to anyone that come near them?
Well, I was there the previous week, so I got to see how quick that mass grows. Yeah, and it would literally be a case where you'd look, there'd be a couple of people setting up, you'd have a couple of sentences, or even a 5 look back and there was a bigger group. And every time you look back, the group had doubled, if not tripled, every single time, until the whole bottom half of St. Peter's Square can't be seen. So, when this was all kicking off, that group was starting to grow and it was starting to pick up its numbers. So it was a case of, can't exactly allow that to kick off while we're here because there's only a handful of us and there were hundreds of them.
What was the dynamic?
Between us or them?
But with them, what was the dynamics?
Well, what they tend to do is march through Manchester and then meet back up at the same place. It was literally just starting together when we got there. Obviously, there was a small group of kids which had started it off. Obviously with our lot, but it was just starting to build up numbers. So we just, we finished up what we were doing anyway. We were just about finishing. So we left them to it. At the end of the day, they've got a right to protest just like we do. We just don't take it too far like a couple of members of them lot have done.
Yeah. And can I ask, although it's a touchy subject these days, what was the colour of the people that actually started on you?
Half caste.
Right.
Mixed race.
Yeah. Sorry.
Right.
I'm used to German, right? I am used to German because I don't see people as colour. The only time where I had to know the difference was when I was in Germany.
I'm going to call it out now, Jason and Kater. If there is ever a statue erected in Katie J. Swallow's name, I'm the first to be pulling it down, right? Can't be having that shit on my stream.
I knew that was coming.
The overall, Katie, the overall dynamics of their march, was it a mixture of races, or was it predominantly white, or was it?
I couldn't tell, to be honest. I was trying to diffuse the situation and move our lot on, so I wasn't. Yeah. But when I've been down there, it's been the majority of fair-skinned people there. When I have been down there, and a couple of mixed race people or from other countries, But you know, I've not been through the entire. I have once, but it's not something that I'm there looking for. If you get what I mean.
Yeah.
No.
But that seems to be the driving force, doesn't it? I mean, when we've been on marches, be it a Maria's March, be it veterans, be it whatever, we tend to, our opposition or who we come up against tends to be white, not anybody of color, not anybody that say it was something to do with Muslim grooming gangs or it was to do with X, Y, and Z. You're never actually coming up against the people that you want to have a discussion with, and you want to, you know, broaden your horizons in why you're marching in the first place. It seems to be this white demographic, this middle class white demographic that, if we're going to have it right, are privileged, do come from privileged backgrounds, and yet they want to be the voice, the sole voice for minorities. Now that makes no sense to me.
There's nothing more demeaning, mate. In my regard, I'll be honest with you. If someone of a fairer complexion, white skin, is telling someone of another fairer complexion, white skin, to get on their knee for the fact of my descendants, so someone else, a third party of a darker skin, and to pull down statues, to rewrite history, and to regress and go back probably 20 years in terms of race relations, I would tell them to stop telling people to do that. You can't speak for me. I'm fine. I can look after myself. When I was going through this initially in the 70s, I had to learn to look after that. But having said that, the 70s is not the environment that we're living in now. The picture that they're trying to paint is that we are still in the 70s, as in this is England. Everywhere you look, the connotation of a George flag knocking out of a window means their National Front. There's no such thing as patriotism. It's been merged into you're wrong. You're just wrong. And I don't like the way the textbooks are being rewritten. I also see the hypocrisy, particularly, sorry, Katie, I'll let you speak in one sec, but there was one thing that come up when I covered an organisation, a black militia that you informed me about, Jason, that was parading, or should we say, mincing round Texas with armed guns, all dressed in black, looking at taking over Texas. Now, it was funny because when you dig into the leader, who is called Grandmaster Jay, you soon find out that the way he speaks is full of Malcolm X, black militancy, and not anything about trying to come together at all. It's very uncanny because the one thing he does mention is there's something that I agree on that not a lot of people talk about, in which that the Portuguese slave trade played a bigger part than what a lot of people give this credit for. And he mentions this, but I'm not about to castigate the Portuguese for that. The irony is, he's in the middle of Texas wanting to take part of Texas as sovereign land for what he regards as black political prisoners, when he's also mentioned within his little freaking tirade that his gripe was the reason why he's a political prisoner is because of the Portuguese slave trade. So why is he in the middle of Texas trying to take out Texas when he should be in fucking Lisbon trying to take that out, if that is the case? But even there, you think there's so much gone on. There's so much that we can now be proud of as a society, you know, that we do come together on, and we did until a few months ago. So sorry for that rant, guys. Katie, I'll let you come in here if you want to talk about your event a little bit or whatever.
I mean, it's mostly been said, to be honest. It wasn't a really big kickoff. I mean, I know that a lot of places have had it kick off like really bad. But, I mean, you've seen what I'm like on demos. Like, you will not get my focus off the kids. You will not tarnish the kid's name. Like, it doesn't matter how much you try and spit your dummy out and, you know, throw a tantrum. At the end of the day, if we're there for the kids, we're there for the kids. And if people want to play funny games on the outside and, you know, try and cause trouble, then that's just what they're going to have to do. But I'm not going to let that tarnish what we're doing for our kids. And we ended up actually in an article. I'll send you a screenshot of the article, actually. But yeah, we ended up in an article in Wales.
Right.
And it was one of the admin that actually put it onto me. Let me get it up.
No doubt it was a glowing report on your successful mission to redress against the state.
Of course. Well, I've just sent it to you anyway, but I'll read it anyway. It says, finally, the YouTube channel that was originally hosted the video Children Matter.News. 1 minute. The YouTube channel that originally hosted the video Children Matter.News is a far-right front which exists to spew out propaganda for Tommy Robinson, flunkies Jordan Gaskell, Sharon Binks, and Katie Jane Swallows. There's only one S in my last name. The video was shot by Philip Watkins, and a hanger on the far-right circles in South Wales, who was involved with Tracy Blackwell's disastrous visit to Cardiff. In recent years, it's become a part of the deliberate strategy by the British far-right to try and exploit people's understandable concerns over child protection issues, as everyone, of course, wants to protect children from abuse. But let's be clear, this is a British far-right have no genuine interest in protecting children from abuse or helping adults who are abused as children. Their growing and alarming involvement in vigilante groups and online paedophile hunters, and it goes on, but I don't have the rest of the screenshot for it. But it's comical because both me, Bobby and Joe, the ACCA team, and countless other members of the actual admin of Children Matter are all survivors of child abuse, are all survivors of abuse, and are all fighters back of forced adoption whose kids have been, targeted. So the whole statement itself is just a massive hypocrisy. So I've just said to everyone, don't react. Just ignore it. Just let it wash straight over your head, because at the end of the day, our actions speak louder than their words. And every single thing that they've put there can be discredited already by the work we've already done and the work we'll continue to do.
See,
I'm not bothered what they say.
No, because we spoke about this earlier today. You keep your message beaming forward rather than react. Well, you can see the psychological trick, can't you, Jason, with what goes on with these guys? I mean, the brandish something like what Katie's done there is far right straight off the bat. But yeah, let's break it down again. We had stories a few months ago about a disproportionate amount of the BAME community that were getting coronavirus. We then had George Floyd that had that, happened to him tragically, yeah? No matter what his past, he didn't deserve to die like that. The narrative was set that then every police force in the world was practically had to be readjusted, yeah? Pulled down, all the statues, all rewrite history. Then there was a series of marches all around the world that were sanctioned, that were promoted by pretty much every medium going. Any negative connotation that did derive from any one of them events was played down, and the bigger, greater cause was always promoted over the negativity. So that's where it's not even a double standard. You know what I'm saying, Jason?
It goes past the double standard, Phil, and we're seeing that. We're seeing exactly what happened to Katie. Now, they've castigated that event as being right-wing. Yeah. Now, as soon as they do that, people now think Nazis, racists, bigots. Then they throw into the mix names like Tommy Robinson, so that's affiliation. It's like this thing where, I mean, as you just stated, that Black Lives Matter, they marched in London. There was serious violence. There was serious things that happened that day. There was police officers that were attacked. There was a horse that had to be put down because it had a brick smashed into his face. But you're right, Phil. That doesn't fit the narrative, because the bigger question was they're marching because a black man lost his life in America, so we feel aggrieved enough to march on our streets and attack our police force.
How many people in London died through black on black knife crime, mate?
Yes, exactly. And if we're going to have it right, Phil, the police force in America and in Britain, and especially the Met in London, comprises 23% more minorities than any other police force worldwide. And yet they wanted to go toe-to-toe with these police because they are policemen of all different colours, creeds and denominations. But that's okay, because that's the liberal left. They get away with that because they can use race as a tool. They use race as a bargaining chip every time. I mean, if we have it right, your liberal left use all minorities. They use them time and time again. They are the slave masters to minorities because they think that minorities don't have a voice. They're not clever enough. They're not astute enough. So us white liberals will be the voice for you. How fucking demeaning is that? Sorry for swearing.
That's right, mate.
That's how they carry on. But they will never, ever be castigated or put down for what they're doing because they use the race card. They use it each and every time. But if I stand up or Katie stands up because of the coloration of our skin or pigmentation of our skin, you're a Nazi. You're a racist.
This is what pisses me off. It's like, Red Pill Phil knows, a couple of other campaigners are like, last year, September, I was racially attacked.
Yeah.
Wasn't for being white, it was for being Irish. I've never been to Ireland. I just have Irish family, Irish heritage, you know, like I've got Irish in my blood.
But
I don't see a problem with that, you know. For me, that's just one of those things. But I was, and I didn't realize, like, I did realize what it was, but it was the first time I'd been proper targeted, and it's horrible. It's brutal.
Was this just about being Irish, Kate, or was this about the denomination of being Irish? Was this to do with Catholicism? It
was literally just came down to being Irish. I don't even know what part of Ireland my family originate from. I know I've got family from all over Ireland, but I don't know which are from where.
Well, the name you were called, because you were called pretty much a supporter of the IRA, weren't you?
Yep. Even though I've trained with the RAF. My dad is in the army. The majority of my family is in the British military. My brother's in the RAF. I trained with them. I mean, in the video Phil was showing before, like just a bit further on, you could see the Blair twins, Kenton, and me up there with the reef. They nearly left me out, mind, and they got told off for it because they forgot about the fucking RAF.
Yeah.
But you know, like that was my past. That's my family, and being called that when we're surrounded by veterans as well. We had veterans coming up to the exact same camp that I was being accused of being that for. She was trying to put a hit out on me to shut me up, silence me, take the platform. I don't care what. But the point was she just went out of her way to attack someone because of where they came from or their appearance. If I did that, I'd be a fucking hypocrite. I've got purple hair, shaved head, tattoos everywhere. I'd be one of the biggest hypocrites ever if I judged anyone for the way they looked.
Yeah, because you don't, at the end of the day, how you look does not fit a narrative. We're not pigeonholed, you know? And this is what's wrong with this country. This is what's wrong with Britain as a whole. Political correctness should be thrown in the fucking bin because one, it's not political, and two, it's got nothing to do with being correct. It's all about chastisement. Anybody. It's a tool to use against you for having pink hair or shaved hair. It's a tool to use against me because I'm a white guy and I've got a skinhead. I've got a skinhead because I'm fucking bald. You know? And it's
a good way to get different groups into submission, though, isn't it?
Of course it is, Phil. And that's what's when political correctness got brought into play, it destroyed our police force, destroyed our armed forces, and it's destroying society.
Well, look at political correctness, how it works in Brixton. You know that normally, even if they would have been deemed bad for it 20, 30 years ago, they would have gone in there, horses, like they do at the marches. This is what I'm saying. They wade in with the horses, with whatever they need, and then telescopics, the wooden ones, whatever it is. They literally knew that if they done that in that area, and they know why, because the image of a policeman hitting a black person is going to rock it all around the world and send the narrative, which will probably times the George Floyd a little bit. Look, we've told you. Look, we've told you. Now,
and it would be an escalation.
It's emboldening that attitude, the negative side of the people that want to redress this, the ignorant side, because they're the ones now that feel empowered that well, if I loot that shop, you know, he's going to rethink twice if he's over the road and he catches me. 20 years ago, you'd have been caught. You'd have probably got a little slide cuff and you got thrown in the van. But, you know, now we've got human rights. Now we've got to look at people's skin color in a way of how to deal with them politically.
Jail-free card, Phil. And that's what we saw time and time again. Now, I know for a fact that when the veterans marched on the memorials that day, the police were warned to stand down. They were warned not to engage with Black Lives Matter.
How can you be told that?
But that's the same police force. Now, bear in mind, we're talking about the square mile of London. So we're talking about Cairns police force. We're talking about that particular division of Cairns police force. They kettled the veterans and they kettled the DFOA. But I just want to talk about from the veterans side. The veterans were peaceful. They went there. They did everything they said they would do, and they left peacefully. At 3:15, the police decided it was a good idea to let 200 Black Lives Matter. Now, bear in mind, DFLA are kettled. They let 200 Black Lives Matter pour into Trafalgar Square, unhindered. Not even.
Bearing in mind, if health and safety is a concern, everyone's been told to go on a lockdown and go out as little as possible. And the BAME community, shit, you're more likely to get this. I don't know why we haven't worked that out yet, but that's what the figures are saying. Why let this happen?
Yeah.
You know, do an online redress. Why did it have to go out in the streets?
It
You
got
done
worse.
online. You did, in fact, Katie, sorry, Jason, to put in there, but Katie, you did an online petition protest, didn't you, not so long back?
The digital demo.
The digital demo, that's the one.
It went on for just shy of 5 hours.
So what I'm saying, was that under the lockdown guidelines? It was, wasn't it, when it was first enforced, the guidelines, wasn't it?
Yeah. Yeah,
So
everyone
that's what I'm saying.
was in their own homes, you know, everyone was in front of a camera. We put 10-minute slots for everyone out, you know, and if it went over a little bit, you had me working behind the scenes, you know, Zero faced it for me, so I could work behind the scenes. I had to call people the entire time going, you're on in a minute, you need to be up and get on, and then talking to other people how to get through it. It was great.
Well, I know, I watched a lot of that, and the way it was all put together, I know Zero News helped you with that and a few other people. Very professional, smooth as fuck. It really was the way it all went on.
From having the idea to pulling it off, 8 days, I'm buzzing over it.
You should do. That's a really good achievement. But it shows that you adhere to the guidelines. This is where it says, if there is a left and a right, which I don't adhere to anymore, guys, because it's all a game. If you adhere to one, you're getting treated like that one by the other one. And I'm like, I'm a human being. If we stop playing that game, we can actually interact as human beings instead of a representative from the right, a representative to the left. You know what I mean? But playing all that, it's redundant. You know what I mean? And because you've done that, Katie, you've adhered, it always seems to be, there's some naughty shenanigans that go on both sides. So I'm not trying to mitigate for anyone. We know a lot of shenanigans that have gone on with people that we've known and all that kind of stuff and whatever. We try and stay positive. We stay away from all that. But it does seem to be the right, if there is a thing, does seem to get a more of a conscience in how it wants to deal with things and how it's perceived. Whereas the left seem to be a little bit more cavalier. They don't care. They've got all the backing in the world. And it's almost celebrated for them to do that because that is part and parcel of the agenda.
They don't understand and they don't want to understand. You know, they want the information given to them on a golden spoon instead of having to do anything like pick up a book.
Yeah, I'd agree. But it comes down to, and you've hit the nail on the in what you're saying, Phil, that there you go, what happened to UK. Because of that article, they now, people that have equated your march, you're now right wing. You've now got affiliation with Tommy Robinson. You've now got affiliation with all these things because it's been said, because it's been put there out there as a journalistic, you know, it's bullshit. It's
I've just had a
absolute
thought. You said right wing then, and I thought, hang on a minute, I've got one wing tattooed on my back, and then I've just realised what side it's on.
Don't say it's the right side.
But
You know
if you get what I'm saying, this is the thing, and there's no argument when somebody brandishes you with that. But the left or liberals or whatever you want to call it, they can get away with murder, literally get away with murder, because there's no recourse. And like what you were saying, Phil, the reason why the police were told not to engage because it would inflame the situation. But inflame the situation, it inflamed it even more because they didn't engage. We had at 3:45 that day in London, 200 left, black, Asian, whatever, running through the streets, screaming, we're going to kill people, we're going to stab people, we're going to do X, Y, and Z. And the police let it happen. Why? Because they don't want to be deemed as being fucking racist. Racist to who?
Right, Jason, Peter, that brings me on beautifully, because as we said before, all that is going to enable is empowerment of the wrong type. Yeah, we're both agreed on that. With that, I'm going to show a link now that, for me, don't know who's done it. People say he's Antifa, whether he is, whether he isn't.
I've purposely not watched this yet.
Right. Okay. So let's get your first initial reaction. Thank you to Jason for sending me this anyway. This is a YouTuber that soon apparently has deleted his video, whether he has or not. It was available on another channel. But this is the consequences of not clamping down on this hysteria that's going. And this is where it gets to dangerous proportions. Let's see. Hold on. I built it up there. I just need to press play. That would help, wouldn't it? Right, here we go.
We have to kill white people. We have to start killing them. Otherwise, there will be no change at all. They will continue to do what they do, and they will be entitled about it and spoiled. We have to kill them. I can't stress that enough. Like, we need to start interbreeding with their women, fucking their women, having as many children as possible so we can interbreed into their families and get our race going. You know, they can't be racist to a black person if they have a fucking half black kid. You know what I mean? It's a little bit more hard to be racist when you got children that are half black, you know? And Mitch McConnell, we have to get him out of the fucking Senate because he is the epitome of white people. Same with Trump. They lie, they use their hypocrisy, and they're terrible fucking people. I mean,
he's great.
Read and then look up any data or information, and you can look it up for yourself. But people are too fucking dumb to do that shit. I'm really at this point with white people. Like, we really need to fucking get rid of them. You know, they don't want to be here. They don't want to be on our team. They don't want to help. They don't want to do anything with us. So let's fucking get them out of our fucking country. They're not even fucking from here to fucking begin with. They're fucking from some other fucking place. And then they come here and try to act like it's theirs. Like, this is why we need to kill them. Like, and if anybody's serious about this shit, like, I think I'm going to start a group on
social media.
Yeah. I think even if he doesn't start the group, let's face it, he's put the initial hit out, hasn't he? So if he's just that deranged, then it's only going to take someone to actually think, well, you know what, that's not a bad idea, actually. Let me go that little level further. You know, where's this going to stop? This all started with, let's call that person Nazi racist. And once the press allowed people to do that to people indiscriminately, without common sense, got more and more power, more and more power. And then violent acts, Antifa, smacking you with a thing. Nothing said. You say anything to them, racist. More and more power, more. And you can see now, this is the equivalent of when that comedian in America held up Trump's severed head. Remember that?
Yeah.
Call out. If you can get away with doing that, then you can get away with murdering him, because you've already built his strawman up sufficiently where most people will go, well, he fucking deserved it, didn't he? You know? And this is the demonization. So, Katie, you haven't seen it before. What's your initial thoughts on that?
Where do I start? Let me see. Someone who appears to be white is calling for the genocide of white people because he's ashamed to be himself. So much so that he has to walk around holding his camera below him so he feels above something else. And what's the point? What's the point of killing white people? White people don't want to be here. White people don't want to be around. I'm pretty sure I did history. Pretty sure I came across the Romans. Pretty sure like there's fucking been white people all across the fucking country, just as there's been every other fucking person across this fucking country. If you're gonna look at someone and judge someone by the way they fucking look, then what? Am I supposed to look at you and judge, like, sorry, not you, I mean him? Am I supposed to look at him and think,
exactly.
oh my God?
This is what I'm saying. This is the kickback, because it's inevitable that is going to happen. If someone fires
like
out
a convict.
energy, well, the funny thing is, Jason and I seem to be on. He may be, he may not be, but we're under the impression he's possibly Hispanic. Okay,
he looks it.
The irony is, he's demonizing white people for all his woes. Now he goes on that he's got a remnants towards history. Does he know why the term Hispanic has come about? Hispanic. The Spanish raped their asses back in the day. A man called Cortez went over to the Americas and he bled the Aztecs dry. There's many reasons as to why he done that, but before he done it, he raped and pillaged and took every fucking drop of gold that the Aztecs had. And if people don't want to believe that, that's fine. But all they've got to do is walk around Barcelona, look at the architecture, and wonder where the fucking money come from to pay for it. But yet, he won't look at the Spanish, just like Grandmaster fucking Ding Dong won't look at the Portuguese. It's the white man. And I don't get it. Sorry, that's my little rant.
No, you're absolutely right, Phil. And the thing, what I've been looking at, and I was thinking about this today, and this is a question to both of you. If we look at United States and we look at Britain, they're not that far removed when it comes to multiculturalism, through different cultures in different colours, different creeds, and whatever else. And I'm sitting there thinking today, and I'm thinking, say, we've got Pakistanis, we've got Bangladeshis, we've got all different colours, creeds within our country. They're represented every single day. Multiculturalism is represented every single day, be it through their houses of worship, be it through their cultures, be it their food, their outlets, every single thing. They are represented. Same in the United States as they are in the United Kingdom. Now, that's how the Western world deals with multiculturalism, right?
I think multiculturalism works, but only when it is when the people respect the country they're in, respect the laws they're in.
Reciprocated on both sides, Kate. I think that's what you're saying. Yeah.
But it's became this thing where you've got certain minorities that feel that they're not represented. And they've not, when I mean not represented, we had this Pakistani MP in Glasgow that sat there and said, all the judges are white, all the CPS are white, all the top lawyers are white, all the chief of police are white.
That's got nothing to do with the colour of their skin. That's all down to do with their education and the background.
Well,
that's not it, though, is it? That's what they're trying to say.
No, he's in Glasgow. Now, that's because Scotland is 98% white. That would be like me going to Africa and saying, all the judges here are black. All the chief of police here are black. It's the same fucking difference. It's got nothing to do with your culture nor race. It's to do with the demographic of that country that you're staying in.
It's a ratio, Jason.
Of course, Phil. It's nothing to do with racism. It's nothing to do with being disproportionate treated or anything else. It is to do with the ratio of race. Same if I went to fucking Pakistan. The chief of police there would be Pakistani. The judges would be Pakistani. What am I supposed to stand there and go, but I'm white. I'm not represented. Boo fucking who? It's not how life works. It is not. And
I'm going to try that. I'm going to try boo fucking who. Boo fucking who. And see what happens.
To be fair though, right, I've got to say, in Germany you can do that because Germany is owned by England, America, Italy and France. So, like, you know, when we were over there with the army, you got taught if you get, you know, took to a courtroom over there, you have to say to them that this isn't a courtroom. We don't recognise you as a court. You don't own your own land. You need a representative from each one of the countries that owned you. But it's not like you can do that with every country.
But second point, we've got this guy, Hispanic, all right? Another one of the cultures that dwells in America, and he's calling for the death of white people, just white people. Because why? Because you're living in a predominantly white country that is a mixing pot of all different creeds and cultures who are all represented. And if we single out the black culture in America, represented well, when it comes to TV, when it comes to sport, when it comes to music, when it comes to acting, when it comes to philosophy, when it comes to all these positive things that the black community in America, solely in America, bring to the table. But no, they're put down, they are trodden on, and they can't do anything. Come on, give me a fucking break. It doesn't ring true.
Mate, I've got to say it, and it sounds harsh here, but there's an element where everyone is somehow oppressed, no matter what the colour of the skin. That's the reason why we're on here, for fuck's sake. And we've got, you know, three different mixes from all over the bloody globe right on here. Even though you two look the same, I'm sure your heritage and your descendants are fucking totally different. One will be stood over there and one will be stood over there. You know what I mean?
Irish, Italian, I'm all right.
There you go. There you go. I've never heard of a shamrock-shaped pizza, though, but never mind. I'm sure that's a new thing.
I've never heard of someone who's got Italian in their blood and doesn't tan.
That is pretty weird. But you're a self-renowned king, though, aren't you?
I am, and I think there's more Irish in me than there is Italian, so I think that might have something to do with it as well.
Or should I say, PC police, here we go, about to be arrested. African sunset, that's the new ginger, apparently.
What happened to strawberry blonde? What happened to that excuse?
No, when I say that to the wife, she still sees it as I've said ginger, so I've had to change and redefine it. Otherwise, I'm getting thrown out. So I've had to soften it up a little bit more, you know what I mean? But it's ridiculous, so the way it's going. I mean, case in point, same again. Thank you again, Jason, for sending me this. This is another link. And we'll get on to other stuff in a minute. But I think this is a good chat for us all to be involved in. Gives us all, you know what I mean? And everyone listening, it's all very relevant. But this is, everyone knows him, or most people do, the man Louis Farrakhan. Some things, in terms of black empowerment, I do get what he's saying. But in terms of militancy, he overstretches the mark, and he often talks about trying to overpower and overthrow the white demon, which is totally bad rhetoric, and he's certainly not Martin Luther King. And God bless Martin Luther King wherever he is, because I want him back, seriously. So with that, I'll just play this, and then same again. Jason, you may have already seen. I'm just going to play a little bit of this, and then I'll come into you, Kate, and see what you think of it.
In my opinion, no different than ISIS, the terrorists, Muslim terrorist people out there, attackers out there. This call to kill white people didn't happen at a mosque. This message that was sent out by Louis Farrakhan, given out by Louis Farrakhan, happened at a Baptist church. Men and women, preachers who are supposed to believe in God. They don't. This happened in Miami at Mount Zion Baptist Church.
I'm looking for 10,000 in the midst of a million. Listen, listen. I'm looking for 10,000 in the midst of the million. 10,000 fearless men.
Fearless.
Who say death is sweeter than continued life under tyranny.
Where's the tyranny?
It's radicalization.
Yeah.
Death is sweeter than to continue to live and bury our children while white folks give the killer hamburgers.
You know.
Death is sweeter than watching us slaughter each other.
What?
To the joy of a 400-year-old enemy. Death is sweet.
Did you hear that? Did you
Listen
get
how
onto
they
that,
applaud
Jason?
and praise
Yeah, I
the
fucking
Lord
got
and
onto that.
Did you get onto that, Katie? What he
black
just
people
said
are not
there?
living under tyranny of white.
He's basically saying black on black crime is he can overlook that for slaying the white man.
Yeah. Death is sweeter for black on black crime, but we need to. Do you know what I found? Another thing that I was thinking about today. You've got this black militia. Now I'll get on to two things about the black militia that not many people know. There's a lot of people that are very clued up in military. Katie will probably know their dad and everything else. But what they do know is they do know their guns. And they do know their tactical equipment and ensemble. 25 of this militia were carrying guns with magazines that do not fit those guns. That once fired, that magazine would jam and probably backfire, killing the person using it. 6 of the militia had their optics on the top of their AK-47s round the wrong way. 4 of the militia had mock Kevlar vests. Now, for anybody that doesn't know, a Kevlar vest is a bulletproof fucking vest. Who are these people? Because they're certainly not trained militia. They seem like posing for pictures to look like
or something. Yeah.
Agent provocateurs. Exactly, Phil. So when we look at them and we look at the Hispanic guy, they're both doing the exact same thing. They're agent provocateurs. They're not realists, and they're. If I was going to go out and commit a race crime tomorrow, I wouldn't be telling fucking no one. I'd just be going out and I'd be fucking doing
broadcasting. But that is so in your face that you know that you're almost getting away with it. You know that. I mean, everything I'm seeing. Someone mentioned in the comment, I can't believe it's sad. There we go. Sad to see from a church. This is supposed to be the man of the cloth, practically. The man makes so much money doing what he's doing, supposed to be spreading positive vibes to his flock. Now he's acting more like a fundamentalist than he is a preacher in my regard. I mean, what would you say to that, Katie?
I want to take over your stream for a minute, if I'm honest. I cannot take over your stream for a minute.
It would be nice, wouldn't it? Yeah. Yeah. Give him a bit of the old freaking chat. Go for it.
Right, I'm sick of shit like this. Fucking sick to the fucking death of it. Because at the end of the day, we've been going through for fucking years white, blonde-haired, blue-eyed fucking kids being taken from their fucking families, thrown into fucking foster care system to be abused by the system, by the state that's been there to fucking look after it, social workers raping them and destroying their fucking lives, to be sold on to paedophiles, to be used as human beanbags, human punching bags and fucking pincushions for the rest of their lives, having to constantly run away to try and get any form of freedom, to feel any form of safety, to sleep on the fucking streets, just to get one night not feeling scared and terrified that someone's going to come in, hurt you, rape you, abuse you, bloody kill you. How many times have you seen our kids in the newspapers or being ignored because their lives have been taken because they've been nothing but a piece of paper or a piece of meat in someone else's bloody screwed up mentality of what they want the narrative to be like? At the end of the day, everybody is suffering. It's not just us, it's not just you, it's not just them, it's not just our neighbours. Everybody is suffering. We have people sleeping on the streets who have got no choice, who are starving day in and day out. We've got kids that are having toxins injected into their body without any willful say for themselves. We've got children who are being ripped from their mothers and their fathers, then ripped from their siblings, sold to the adoption agencies and sold to paedophiles while their parents are gagged and nothing can be done about it. No one knows if these kids are dead or alive. The parents don't even have an entitlement to know. We've got veterans who are being prosecuted for being forced to fight a war and do things that they wouldn't have wanted to do anyway, just because they wanted to keep their families safe and their friends safe. We've got history which has taught us for decades that we respect what's happened, we respect each other, and we do not discredit and disrespect each other or one another for where we come from, what we look like, or what we've done. At the end of the day, we should be judged on who we are. Not what we are, not what we look like, but we should be judged on our actions and what we do. How much we push ourselves out there. Everybody is suffering. And to put posts out there and to try and indoctrinate hundreds and thousands of people to go out there and target one specific group of people just because they don't like the look of them or because they have a look to someone else throughout history that they have a resemblance towards. None of that's right. We get taught the difference between right and wrong from being a child. From birth, we are taught the difference between right and wrong. Just because you're an adult, just because you've got something to swing between your legs, doesn't mean your life is any more important than mine. Because I tell you one thing, any child's life is more important than any adult's life because a child is too young to have committed a sin, too young to know the difference between right or wrong or to do anything wrong. So if anyone should be fighting for anything, it should be the kids. Not a group of kids, not a specific group of kids, but the kids. That's all that should matter. That's it. It shouldn't matter about anything else. And to come out with that disgusting shit, mate, you should be undrawn and bloody quartered, or you should go dig yourself a hole, because that shit should not be tolerated by anyone.
Hater, do you want some of that? Or what? Give some of that to him. Spray it on him. I swear to God. Right, all I'm going to say is I love you all, even the pissing haters. See you later, because what else can I say? Me, Jason. What do you want to say after that? She killed it, nailed it.
100% agree. And
don't take shit when it comes to kids.
That is what we should be looking at. And you said it, Kate. No matter the denomination, no matter the culture, the creed, the colour, the kids are the next generation. And we have failed the kids, especially in this country, for over 60 years now. 60 years. Not 30, not 40, 60. But it was never reported. They hid that. First reported case was in 1975. Not many people know that. In grooming. A little Sikh girl, 9-year-old, that was gang raped and murdered. Never brought to trial.
I will interject here. And I'm not saying what you're saying is inaccurate, because in the demographic you're talking about, you're totally right. But if we're going to get pedantic on the term grooming, that has been going on for how long?
Oh, it's centuries, absolute centuries. But
to me, whether it's Pakistani or a politician or whatever, the abuse of young boys by people, whatever, has been going on for age and memorial, hasn't it?
Phil, the use of boys in this country, harking back to the 15th century, it was legal to bugger a boy's, what would it be called? Your servant,
I can't
Right.
stand that word. Sorry, I can't stand that word.
It was legal in this country to bugger a little boy.
You've
No.
just said it again, mate. I'm
No,
going to spray you with holy water here.
Sorry,
To me-
it's literally like there's only one word I can't stand, and that's only because I know the meaning behind it.
No, I know, it's awful. I mean, because
Do
these
we
are not
really-
normal words in our vocabulary. Sorry, Jason. Go on, mate. Carry on.
Do we really think that went away? Do we really think that the upper echelons of society changed their ways? And
It's been normalised.
of course it's normalised. And when you look at it, and Katie knows all about this, through the whole process, from your police to your CPS to your judicial system to your courts, it's flawed. It's flawed. And it never will get any better for our kids, for any fucking kids, until we can change the system. The system needs to be turned on its fucking head.
The crazy thing is, Jason, if they done a rollout like they did with Black Lives Matter and just put kids' lives matter, imagine
Or even
the
just life
worldwide
matters.
abuse that's going on. Sorry?
I said, or even just life matters. You know what I mean? Because it's not
Yeah.
just human life, neither. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
just take bees for an example. Just because I've been pestered by them all day, even bees matter. You know what I mean? Because at the end of the day, you won't get, nothing to get pollinated without it. I say that,
Without
yeah. I have to. The only reason I'm pointing it out, right, is because I'm in Manchester and there's fucking bees everywhere.
You know what? We should take a leaf out of a bee. Not that a bee has got a leaf, if you know what I mean. But the crazy thing is, most people still get shit scared when a bee's around them and when it gets near them and all that stuff. Most people know that a bee will never touch you, only as a last self-defense mechanism. And by doing that, it knows it kills itself. So it's done. So it's illogical for it to do it off the bat.
Right,
Yeah.
but the fuckers don't stop from fucking landing in your head, do they? Right? When I was in fucking Germany, I was at the fucking animal shelter. It was on my hair. I moved my fringe, fucking ended up with the fucking back of it through my finger.
You know what, Katie? I didn't think there would ever be a time, right, that I would have to do this, particularly to you, my sweet little Napoleonic friend.
With our 77th Brigade helping to quash rumours from misinformation, but also to counter disinformation.
Pack that shit in, Katie.
You've been 77th Brigaded, Katie.
77th have come in on your ass.
Oh, did you just see the look on my face though when you fucking put that up? I was like, wait, what the fuck's this?
There's only one person who gets that every time he comes on, and that's Nicky the fucking Rocket Locket, because he's jet fueled. He's like fucking off into the stratosphere as soon as he opens his mouth. And the 77th has to come in, go pack it in, Nicky. And you're the only other member. You're the female pocket rocket.
Yeah. But anyway,
Right, I mean, sorry.
So,
to get
Go on,
back
Jason.
on track, to get back on track,
yeah.
we're now looking at these militant organizations that are linked to Black Lives Matter and all these things that are going on in the United States with this Master J or whatever his name is now, regardless if their militia is bona fide or not. You're looking at a minority within a white majority country want to overthrow that country. That's fucking madness. Now, with this militia, they marched on Texas. Texas is one of the most highly populated white states in America and the most heavily armed.
I was going to say, I'd love to see that. I'd love to see them actually barge into fucking Texas, because of all places to go, Texas ain't the fucking place to start.
Katie, it would be an annihilation. There wouldn't even be. It's like what I said. I got all my information about these guns and about these pictures from Texans because they know their guns. They carry from the age of 16 in Texas. They train to shoot guns at the age of 8 in Texas. So My question is for people like Farrakhan, for this guy that is claiming that just go out and kill white people, for the militant or the militant sides of the Black Lives Matter in Britain that are causing more harm than good to their actual cause, and the liberal left that are siding with them. Really? You're going to do this in countries that are predominantly white countries? What do you really think the backlash is going to be? Is it going to be like we've seen before? Are you going to get the real right wing, the real neo-Nazis?
That can be the only
real white Aryans that want to
mate.
destroy.
That is what is really being nudged to that. And then not only that, what this does, and your Al Sharptons and all the other people that just go out race baiting, just promoting victimhood to black people, you're promoting the hatred that is growing with what you would perceive as the far right. Sorry, Katie, go on.
Is this like a tactical play, do you think, setting off for Texas? Because if you think about it, like as we've both said, that's one of the most, white fucking armed places you're gonna get. But it'd be really, yeah, kind of like. I mean, look at what the media already do with us when we're out on demos. That's going to be a piece of piss and turning around going, see, look, the neo-Nazis everywhere. And they could air it everywhere across the country, even in the UK, to make it look like it was in our country somewhere, to make it look like there's a racial thing when it's not. It's actually just people defending their homes.
Well, they create the environment. They've got the press that backs them up. They can't make it happen unless they physically get a patsy or whatever and then change the narrative. But they can only hope that exacerbation is that high that you're going to get that spark that will fuel it. And then once they do, boom, package, fucking get it around the world. And then you guys are all to blame for it. You know what I mean? So, yeah, on looking on that level, if you was to look at this as a technocrat, you'd go, right, we seem to have built the narrative here where the far right are being promoted as the pure hatred. We've got the far left that are digging them in the ribs, and the far right can't do anything because they're deemed bad, or the right, or even people who want to associate with that. So that'll
even centre. I mean,
build their numbers
I mean, look at me. I'm not political in any fucking way. I couldn't give a shit about politics.
You're
I care about
a brush. So in a sense, even though it doesn't affect you, and you shouldn't think like that anyway, because you should just do what you do and live your life and don't jump down that rabbit hole. Because I've seen people that have been like you, Kate, at the very beginning, but as Jason will testify, he knows the individuals I'm talking about. They've then gone on to buy Nazi memorabilia. Because
you will never, ever, ever see me doing any of that shit. Ever.
No, not definitely.
Closest I'm going to get to fucking Nazis or anything like that is the high school I went to. And that's
even
only
though,
because
Peter,
it was in Germany.
I must admit, when I did see you go to the toilet before, and when you walked off, I'm sure I seen something that resembled a goose step. It didn't look like normal striding to me, Katie.
Oh, that's just because I've got a dodgy knee and fucking slippers.
All right, that'll be it then. That'll be it. Sorry, Jason, I can't help myself. I know, mate. I know. No wonder I've got a community strike.
Hang on.
I'm fucking wrong, aren't I?
The high school I went to was in Germany. I went to school on Manza Barracks, which was British military base, but it was Hitler's old headquarters. And where I trained for the RAF in PRB was Hitler's old air base. And the army were made to literally keep everything from when Hitler was in power. They had to keep everything in the cellars. Because obviously when the army is coming out, I think they're coming out this year, or next year at latest. But they're going to be turned into museums and that. And PRB is apparently being turned back into an airport. I did my RAF training there.
You go. Anything you want to throw in there, Jason?
I just, in truth, and what's going on, and you're right. I mean, Katie sees herself as being centrist. I would see myself as being centrist, probably like yourself, Phil. Because politics does not belong in the realms of working class. It never has and never will, because we do not make the decisions. And as much as you think that your vote matters, it may matter to you as a person.
We become the consequences of politics.
Of course we do. And everything we're seeing now is just cultural gaslighting. That's all it is. It's nothing more, nothing less. And people that we're seeing on our screens that are getting airtime are agent provocateurs. Now, for what reason? I don't know, because as I pointed out, if you want to start a race war in America, you're a minority. You want to start a race war in the United Kingdom, you're a minority. So it beggars belief that you want to attack or bite the hand that feeds you, so to speak. Because within the Western world and Western civilization, we're the only countries that do embrace multiculturalism, that do bring you into our country, love your food, love your culture, appreciate you for who you are. If you go to China, you're only going to see Chinese culture, and same goes for all different countries worldwide.
Remember not so long back, Jason, sorry to butt in there, but remember I actually done a video on it. I don't know if you watched it at all, Katie, but it was a story when the COVID was coming on. The black Africans in China, they were getting kicked out of the houses. Even when they had legally binding contracts, Katie, the Chinese authorities were knocking on the door saying, you've got an hour to get the fuck out. It then had a procession of black Africans just wandering up a street, and the authorities behind them on bikes literally shooing them away. Get out, because the perception was that the black people were bringing COVID-19 to China, and because they're so ethno-state mentality, it's like fucking ethnic cleansing. Get them out. If we done any of that, I can understand the statue pulling, because that is.
We don't. And that is the argument. We don't. All these.
I know what the problem is.
Tell us.
I know what the problem is with us. We're too British.
Yeah.
Yes.
Too easy going.
I think that's the perfect way to actually explain like what the problem is with us. Is we're too British.
We're polite.
Take a restaurant, for example, when you order a meal, if you tell them not to put something on it and they bring it and there's something on it, what do? You don't send it back like they do over in America. You got to eat around that bit.
Yeah. Have you ever been to America, Katie?
No, not yet.
Right. Have you ever been to America, Jason?
Yeah, several times.
Right. So, okay. So you'll know the difference of the way you deport yourself in a restaurant in America as opposed to an American, the way he deports himself. There's a lot of respect, but there's an element of the custom is always right. Exactly. And they want everything for nothing, and they want you to kneel while you're serving it as well. Now, to a Brit, Katie, when you see that, I'm almost over polite because I'm nice to people. But then it almost feels that, well, if you're not the way they are, your niceness will become a weakness at some point as well. So it's different attitudes. So I get what you're saying about the British thing there, Katie, because we are, no matter where we go, we are regarding that we're like that. We're polite. We're very accompanying. You know, we like to help people. I know.
Sociable.
Yes.
You know, I mean, I'll tell you a true story. My family and I were in just outside Florida, a place called Tampa, right? And we were having breakfast. This was 8 o'clock in the morning, right? And there was a lady sitting across from us with her 2 kids. She got into an altercation with the staff. Now, bear in mind, the staff are overly friendly. It's like, how are you doing today? Everything fine, sir? Everything, sir and madam, being overly friendly. But they had fucked up her order, right? This woman got up. This is like 8 o'clock in the morning, and went to her car to go into her glove box to get a gun. Right? This is at 8 o'clock in the fucking morning, to which her husband came out the restroom and seen that she was going for her fucking gun to shoot this bloody lady that was trying to serve us because they had fucked up her fucking order. And that is a main difference in America. The arrogance is crazy, but it's the way Americans are taught. Americans are taught that they come from the land of the free, that they're the best country in the whole entire world, that they're the strongest country in the whole entire world.
They tell themselves that over and over again.
It's in their constitution, Phil. They are taught that they can become anything, and they are better than anybody on this globe. They're taught that.
We're just that good. We don't need to remind ourselves.
Well, same again. I don't like to get involved in a country thing, a border thing. I'm an individual. I'm a sentient human being. I've got the same amount of powers and passions and hatred and love and as anyone else on any other part of the globe, no matter what language they speak, no matter what size they are, whether they've got 10 fingers, 10 thumbs, 10 thumbs. If they had 10 thumbs, they'd be fucking good, wouldn't they? But, you know, I could do with 10 thumbs on this stream, but, you know, it's like... Yeah.
Hang on a minute. I'm on the stream too. I can help.
There's 6. We've got 6.
But I get on a country level. 6 will do. 4 more, please. But I get on a country level. You know, you want to raise your self-esteem of the country. So you want to keep telling your country how great they are. But I see it on a global level that we're all the same. We're literally all the same. And eradicate all this conditioning, all this inputting that is inputted. And this will go. I always liken it going back to a maternity ward when you're looking through them see-through containers, incubators that the babies are in. You could have every nomination there of every demographic. None of them know exactly what the hell's going on. They've got no conscious being of race as a relative construct at that point. Anything that they learn is inbred through the parents, through what they see, what they hear, and what they watch. And that is the cruelest thing. So, you know, we all know on a flip, if we change that signal, made the telly more inspirational, made it inclusive to everyone, start conditioning people to love one another instead of promoting the hate, you'd get a baby growing from an incubator all the way to an adult with the same fucking mentality as when it come into this world. Sorry for the rant.
It's all right. By the way, thanks for that.
For what?
Great Britain's not going to shut up now.
Oh, vote for Katie Jane. Well, you keep taking his spanner. So he's kissing, he's sucking butt right now, isn't he? That's what he's doing. It's a butt sucking exercise.
Like, no, it's his own fault, right? Because
you're talking about.
You're the comment that's up on the screen now. Like me and Redfield Phil have got the same moderator on both our channels, Great Brit.
Ah, right. Okay.
And he likes to push his limits with me, so every now and again I take his spanner away from him to teach him a lesson. So he's put that comment up. Did you not, Phil? Did you not see the comment he was putting up before, trying to get everyone to fucking put 1 in the fucking chat?
Why? What's 1 signify?
Right. Do you want me to put it? I'll see if I can find it. He said,
God.
Yeah.
So yeah, basically, we've got a wonderful YouTuber here, Jason, Katie Jane Swallow. Amazing work that she does, selflessly. But I've got to admit, there is an element of a Napoleonic complex that brushes off with Katie. I do have to, honestly, anyone fucks with Katie and that spanner's going, it's getting passed to someone else right in front of them.
The spanner taker.
Mate,
I did actually.
You're not having it, Katie, you have it. Katie,
I did actually do that.
And I'm going to give it to you, Jason.
I did actually do that with him on one of the last streams. One of the last streams, I took his spanner off him and gave it to someone else.
Yeah. But so if we can go back to what you were saying, Phil, and Katie, you basically said the same thing. And you reiterated the same thing as what Phil said. Kids, babies, children don't know race. They don't know color. They don't know anything other than love, unconditional love. And it is, yes, you hit the nail on the head, Phil, when you said it is down to the parenting. It is down to society. It is down to the schooling. And one thing I'd love to bring up when it comes to schooling, everything should be inclusive, to the point that if you're going to teach Black history, we don't need to hear about what happened with slavery. We need to hear about the positive things that Black people have done within this country over the time that they first came to this country. Same with Pakistanis, same with Bangladeshis, same with... This is what we need. We don't need to keep going over the same old played out narrative, because at the end of the day, it's only hurting society. It's never going to project society to a sort of utopian, unified place, because all it's doing is causing divisions.
Well,
And if
no relationship, Jason, sorry to butt in there, but no relationship that I know of would ever last if you kept having an argument, getting over it for a day, and then bringing up the argument every other day. It's toxic. People have gone, I've had enough, and we've got to move away. You've got to know that you've got to put it to bed and move on and see the good in people. If it gets to a point, then you've obviously got to break up. But other than that, that seems to be the reality of what's going on now. I mean, when you're talking about history and how people want to deem it, I see it as a mindset thing, Jason. Because I can look at any statue, whatever they represented, whatever demographic, whether they done good deeds or bad deeds, whether the good deeds overrid the bad deeds or vice versa, it don't matter. I still look at that statue in the time period of that time, and I look where I am now. And there's no way I look at that and think to myself, that has got to come down. I think to myself, look how life has changed for individuals, never mind Black people, never mind Indian people, never mind, you know, Aborigines. Look where we are.
In society, I mean, if you look at it, Phil, and it was another thing that I was thinking about today. If it was no good in this country, I think it was 1958 when Windrush happened, and then it was 1960 when the first Pakistanis, Bangladeshis came over. Do you really think they would have stayed for 4 generations if this country was the way that they want to perceive it is? No, they fucking wouldn't. And that's the truth of it. We've all got the same sort of options, the same things that we can achieve, no matter the colour and the race. And we don't need to demonize this country nor any other country for trying to stick together and trying to make something more positive out of it. I mean, if you look at it, it's only coming from the mainstream media. It's only getting dictated to us through the hierarchy of government.
Well, I'll tell you what, similarities are coming out here, guys. Remember when ISIS went on the rampage and they developed the caliphate? And within that caliphate, they then went round the Middle East and went round ancient burial sites and museums. And if the stuff wasn't sold on the black market, it was either blown up or fucking just destroyed. Yeah. Now that was allowed, if you could say, because Obama knew that the caliphate was growing, and he actually allowed that several-mile-long convoy to travel from place to place to let it happen. So you could argue that they let that anarchy transpire, all that damage, civilizations of monuments that we'll never get back again. Hopefully people have got recordings of it to fucking at least so future generations could see it. But I can see a similar thing happening now. You're letting radicalization just have a run of the mill, and whilst it's doing it, it's got its revolutionary hat on, which means it's not just happy with people kneeling. It wants to rip down all the wallpaper in the fucking room it exists in at the same time, in terms of changing history, rewrite the books, force feeding kids of today to see the world this way. It can only be this way, you know? And I see the similarities, and both, you could argue, were both the same paradigm, as in the left stroke the far left, as in particularly ISIS. There was a lot of, well, there was a far left agenda again, you know, that's probably got radicalization on the Muslim side that then kicked off that with normal Muslims as a kickback from white people that were saying this is wrong. Isn't it the same textbook?
It's the same thing. I mean, the same thing has been played out since time immemorial, but it's basically the digital age. So they can put out whatever narrative they want to put out, and as long as they use the right wording, be it what Katie experienced, what I've experienced, which you've experienced, Phil, if they can put out that right narrative, no pun intended using the word right, but if they can put out that narrative, then it's null and void. And that is what we're dealing with now, and it's wrong. It doesn't matter if it's Black Lives Matter. It doesn't matter if it's Antifa. It doesn't matter if it's ISIS. It doesn't matter if it's any extremity of any culture or creed. It's because it is allowed in society because of political correctness. We can't even fucking talk about race now without being deemed racist.
You
We
can on
can't.
air, Jason.
Well, we can on here, Phil, and that's why it's refreshing, like having people like Katie on and even having MC Tunes on. But it's refreshing. We're having conversations that need to be had, and we're discussing them, we're debating them, and that's the way it should be. But like we're saying, you can't have that in school because it's a liberal leftist driven education. You can't have that in the workplace because it's not deemed politically correct. And this is where we're at in society. We're now being gagged through political correctness that really is destroying society. And I say it again, it is destroying society. We were never made to not ask questions nor answer the questions being asked. Never, because you're born to ask questions. It's the only way you develop and learn.
This feels like a vortex because it can never get better if you keep doing this. We could have gone through the PC and we could be on another stratosphere now in terms of energy, how we project between demographics. We could have asked all them questions in the early years. We could have got through that. As we did, we were getting through. We actually got to the point where we were taking the piss out of one another because of our demographics, seeing the funny side of it. That is change. That is progression. Now with this, with the fact that you're stifled, I mean, I'll put this, Cicada, how does it feel to be stifled as an individual where you know that you can't cover certain topics? Even talking with your mate, saying something in the wrong way, if they're not on the ball and they, you know, they might perceive it as a certain way, which will upset the apple cart. How does that make you feel?
I mean, if you take my family, look at like my entire family, like you wouldn't know that half of us are related. I mean, my favourite uncle that used to come and pick me up from school in high school and walk me home, take me to school and everything just to stop me from being bullied was his own words, blacker than the ace of spades. And then you had me, who was tiny and whiter than a milk bottle. So, you know, in our family, it was one of those things where no one saw colour. People saw you for who you are, not what you look like. So it was completely different. But now it's like even if you don't see colour, even if you don't see anyone, like someone different to someone else or whatever, you just see people and respect people for who they are. You still have it pushed on you. Like, you've got to be really careful with everything you say so it doesn't get taken the wrong way or judged, and then all of a sudden you're the bad person when in actual fact it was like earlier. Because I do still think a lot German. I was in Germany for 6 years, you know, and that was through my young teenagehood. So I do still have a lot of German that I have to translate myself, you know, when I'm speaking out loud. So like when it comes to, you know, skin colours, because it's not something that we spoke about a lot in German, there's only one real, you know, word for it. And the translation for it is half caste. It's not mixed race, it's half caste, because obviously we've got political correctness involved, however you want to say it. For me, it's down to a person's preference. If you want to be called a certain thing, I'll call you a certain thing. That, you know, if that's up to you. I'm just polite like that. That's the way I want to be. But to have a conversation with someone now and be petrified that they're going to judge you the wrong way, or that they're going to think that you think something that in actual fact would never cross your mind anyway, it's putting everyone on pins and needles. It's like walking on not eggshells, but needles.
Yeah. Because as soon as they've done that, I mean, when I pulled you up before, the only reason I pull up half caste is because semantically it's an incorrect term. Not because it offends me. It's just that when you look at the breakdown of the two words, half caste, well, a caste is implying that you're only half of what? I'm full. So to me, it's more semantical to say mixed race. I don't get triggered by that.
I normally do. I normally do, to be fair, but it's never come up on subject when we're on live. So when my anxiety is going anyway, it's the German that comes into me, and it's just like, right, I'll translate that one, and but
that's fine.
I do understand it. I do prefer.
But the beauty is, what the point I was making, Kate, is that, you know, when someone does jump on you when you come across that way, it puts you so on the back foot that you've got nowhere to go. You are in the corner because by very nature, the fact that they feel that their feelings are hurt means that you've affected the whole demographic. Not that one individual that just might have had a bad day or might have misinterpreted what you've said. Ultimately, the go-to is you're that, normally racist, Nazi, or whatever, you know what I mean? And that is the uncomfortable position I can see that happens a lot, a hell of a lot. And one thing I will say, my West Indian friend has just walked in here now just because he only wants to see the second half. Well, he was born here, but he's got he takes the piss out of me, right, royal, because of my West African descent.
West African?
Yes, West Africa. Yeah, I am. So I mean, he don't even know what I am. So when he does that, he sends me little comedic clips. So don't think it doesn't go on. Yeah, we're on that page now, aren't we? So don't think it doesn't go on in between different demographics of that demographic itself. Like someone said before, everyone slates the shit out of one another, and because it might appear that you've got black solidarity, but believe me, the clips that he sent me, I'm like, mate, are we really mates? Because you're dogging the African here at this point. Look at him laughing. It's fucking abuse. But anyway, guys.
The abuse is given me by letting you ride the bike all over the place.
My cycling partner. So anyway, Jason, what do you want to say about that, mate?
You just said it all, Phil, really. You're talking about your friends there. You take the piss out of each other, coming from the so-called same demographic or same color, the same culture. That's life. Because there shouldn't be this curtailment in thought policing. And like what you said, Katie used a term that you wouldn't use, but you're not particularly hurt or offended by it. It's just you don't use that term. And this is where we're at in the 21st century.
Yeah, I know.
2020, that we feel that we can't talk about gays. We can't talk about color. We can't talk about sexual orientation. We can't talk about X, Y, and Z. But what the fuck can we talk about?
Apparently, it's still okay to slate gingers.
Well, yes. I've got a string of names I could use, but I won't, Peter.
That is the truth of the matter. And
no, it is. It kills the conversation.
Kids growing up. I mean, I look at my twins are going to be 15 next Thursday, right? Mm-hmm. And because of lockdown and because of the pandemic, I've been doing their homework. And I've been really, truly seeing what the school is teaching my kids. They're teaching my kids that complete acceptance of certain sexuality, certain denominations, certain things, this liberal left teaching that teaches my kids that they have got to respect every single part of that narrative, but not respect themselves, because they do not have a voice. They do not have their own mind. They have got to conform to this liberal society that we're living in. That honestly, what makes that so right and us so wrong? Were we not given free will? Are we not allowed to think for ourselves? It's wrong, Phil. And it really, really, the more that I look at it, the more curtailments that come in to play, the worse things are going to get. And that's the truth.
I agree. It goes against being a human, really, doesn't it?
Of course it does.
You know, inhumane, you could actually say, the way we're being treated.
Do they want a robot?
Well, they're getting it.
But yeah.
I mean, look what's going on around with everyone with the revolutionary cap on, actually agreeing with it if they're not partaking in it themselves. That's robot-like behavior when a lot of them, I mean, let's get on it, they're politically illiterate, so they don't realize the politics that's heaped behind their argument, you know, but yet they think it's right, but all they're doing is playing someone else's game and really giving them the chips at the end of the game. They're not coming out with the chips.
No, but look at the whole Black Lives Matter thing. I said it I was speaking to a friend I've got in London, very intelligent black girl, and I hate using the term black girl because she's just a girl. She's color doesn't come into.
That's what's fucking getting me at the minute with all this fucking shit. That is what's really fucking boiling my blood because I can't distinguish between people. And we're being forced to distinguish between people, which is in itself racist.
Yeah.
Until you bring a colour into it, there's no racism. As soon as you bring a fucking colour into it.
But that's where I'm going with this. She said, "What do you think of Black Lives Matter?" And I said, "Well, it's nonsensical." I said, because to me, Black Lives Mattering was never in the equation in my life. I shouldn't have to choose if a Black Life Matters or not, because of course the Black Lives Matters. It's illogical. But what the Black Lives Matters are doing is divisive. If you agree with it, then you're on their side, but against everything else. If you don't agree with it, then you're on your side and against the black populace. It's bullshit.
But that's coming from the position that everything about this redress is right, noble, and of the highest regard.
Yeah.
And that's not right, because there's obviously anomalies in there. There's obviously things going on within that is negative. So you can't still keep promoting it as this highest moral ground that could ever be, and everyone's got to succumb to it, because that is disingenuous.
But then, Phil, in comes political correctness. So you can't say
I
anything
argue against it.
You can't argue it. So it puts us in a position now. When you said it earlier on in the stream that basically, the way that it was going, all it would have taken in central London that day was for someone to be murdered, of a white person to be murdered. Now, what would have happened there? It would have been all right because that happened, because these protesters, they're aggrieved, they're angry. Then the black contingency went through 400 years of rape, degradation, but it would have been justified. And that's where we're at now. We're making excuses for things that don't need excuses made, because you've got right and you've got fucking wrong. And you learn that for the minute that you're born on this planet. There's right and there's wrong. That's it. Nothing more, nothing less. There is no grey area where you need political correctness to tell me that I've got to agree with all these different things in society and in my life. I can't have an opinion. I can't speak about things. I can't have my own thought process because it is wrong. Fuck off. You know, just...
That's right. Free thinking, mate. Free thinking is going to get you to that conclusion, isn't it? And if you've been born in another generation, it's going to exacerbate it even more. So I guess it's going to be easier for them to input this on kids growing up from now onwards. So, you know, 3-4 generations in, what we're going to be left
norm, Phil. And this is the problem. It's becoming the norm.
Yeah.
It's not normal to accept everything. Because if you accept everything, it's conformist. You're conforming. You won't have your own individual thought process. You'll think like the next man or the next woman or whatever.
Well, this is where it goes back nicely into, does this really mold into a socialistic value that they want to input into Western society, rather than the society of capitalism, which in some ways is very much corrupt and gets, you know what I mean, monopolized the hell out of. I get it. There's definitely wrong issues. But at the same time, it breeds ingenuity. It breeds middle class. It breeds people that hopefully will drip something down. And then the people at the bottom have got something to aspire to get up to.
100%.
Yeah.
If that was a mic,
mate, nailed it. Fucking nailed it. You should have just stood up and walked off, Phil.
I know, innit? Game done. Over.
Like Katie's speech. I mean, your speech was amazing, Katie.
Yes.
It really was. That encapsulated.
I might
everything.
even get that. I might nick that and do a little video with it.
Yeah.
You said that on Great Brits watching. That's going to happen now. Thanks.
Oh, if I'm not going to do it, he's going to do it but he's only doing it because he wants to get the spanner and keep it. He's such a creep, Cater.
I know.
I'm going to do it. I'm going to take the piss at you.
Can I ask what does the spanner do? Wait,
It just means he's got some powers on our YouTube channel, so we can hide people and delete people and that while we're on the stream. It just makes his name show up blue, and it gives him a little spanner.
Right. So it's a bit like being a moderator in a group.
That's what it is. It's a moderator on YouTube.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh dear. Oh dear.
Oh dear. Oh dear. It breeds corruption, as you can imagine, when you're passing spanners, which is power, to people.
The hierarchy of the spanner.
It's the same capitalist system that we're talking about, isn't it? We've got an oligarch here.
I mean, he's a great spanner, you know.
Yeah, but I'm just going to kick it down that socialist. Why doesn't everybody have a spanner? I want a spanner. We all need spanners. Spanners life matter.
Right, get it off Great Brit and give it to Jason for 5 minutes. Jason will have it for 5 minutes. He'll pass it on to me. Then I'll stick it in the comment section. And the first one to grab it is fucking yours. Yeah. You know what I mean? Let's do it like that. That's free will, isn't it?
Free speech just put on mod trash talk.
I'm telling you, the mods are going to revolt against us, you know. I'm telling you, there's going to be a hate campaign against us. Guys,
it's all right. Free speech, do me a favour, write another message. You've got a little treat.
Well, is there any last words that you guys want, starting with Katie? Because I'm going to probably get going now. It's been a long stream, but really interesting. I like the way we've done this. And I'm glad you were on, Katie. And I'm hoping that it didn't get too political for you, but you got involved. And look what shot out here. One of the best speeches that you've done in fucking months.
I try my hardest to stay away from politics as much as fucking possible, so it's proper throwing me in the deep end, this one.
You've got your feet really wet there. You're like, you don't mind if I take the stream, do you? Boom. Loved it. And keep doing that. That is energy and that is passion. And that's what people want to see in this world where we've got to be a robot and shut the fuck up. You know what I mean? So anyway, sorry, I digress, Katie. Any last words?
No, honestly, thank you for having us on. Like, with everything that's going on at the minute, guys, use your instincts. You know what's going on. You know what's happening. Your instincts will guide you in the right way. But you need to make sure that you're aware of the situation, whether you're getting hands-on with it or not. You need to be aware of the situation because everything that's going on at the minute, yeah, it's about to be on our doorsteps. And I'd rather people be prepared and have a little bit of knowledge behind them than being caught completely off guard and being defenseless.
Indeed. How can people get in touch with you, even though this is streaming on your channel as well, which is really weird in saying that?
Well, I'll tell you what, because it's also streaming on my channel, I can actually put my address up. So if anyone wants to get in contact with me, then the address is on screen. It's Katie-Jane@childrenmatter.news. And yeah, you'll get through to me. And if you want to get through to any of the other team, just go on the website and you'll be able to get the team through there as well.
And whatever you do, don't ask her for a spanner. That's a sore subject. Seriously. Jason, anything you want to say? Sorry, Katie. I always rip you when you come on here. I love it, though. Can you get me?
I'm too nice for that. Makes you look worse.
Oh, well, no, with it. Shame me. Oh, shit. So wrong, bully. I'm a bully, Jason. Sorry, mate.
I mean, as much as Katie said, absolute pleasure, Katie, to do a live with you.
Honor's mine.
Really respect you, and I love everything you do, and you're just a phenomenal person. You really are. Red Pill Phil, thank you very much for inviting me on. Pleasure as always, sir. And you know how much admiration and respect I've got for you. Just really is to reiterate what Katie says. Just think. Use your own common sense. It's what we're God-given with. Just think. Think before you drink, before you drive, before your actions go out of control. At the end of the day, having the conversation, having the debate is the only way through this on a ground level, on street level. Speak to each other. We're all human at the end of the day.
Beautiful. Honestly, I'd like to thank the pair of yous, first of all, for taking the time out. It's been a hell of a long time, but it's been enjoyable. It's flown. It's not felt like that length of time at all. It's a great team, including yourself, Jason. You know what I mean? The work you do, the diligent work in the background that no one knows about, the conversations we have. Katie, what you do is definitely a thankless task, but keep doing it. And you know your soul and spirit is in the right place. So don't let anyone get you down. And I would say to anyone else that just keep your energy in the right place, in a sense that what we all know innately, we all know fundamentally how to interact with human beings. Don't matter what politics, don't matter what vibe you're getting from the teller. We know what works, we know what doesn't work. If you just try and input that in your life and not interject with the negativity that is only there for one reason, and that is to make you negative, don't comply. Be your own person. Think about the good places you want to be at and your family and everyone around you. You can't control the world. That's probably a lot of the frustrations with the online community, that you get on there thinking that a little paragraph here and there is going to sort everyone out, and half the time it makes it fucking worse. So it's just like, just get on with your own shit, really. Concentrate on being positive, being energetic, and just loving people. That is my little digression on it, you know.
Yeah.
So thanks, guys. Thanks a lot for your time and your support, as ever. The lot of yous. And obviously, Katie will be working a lot in the background. With you, Jason, we've not finished yet because we've got a big story to talk about in the next few weeks, I'm hoping. This is a little cryptic because other people are not going to know about this, but I want us to do it in 2 segments, mate. I want us to release a story, what we know on a escaping over the top, and then that will allow us a bit more time to dig into the bones, because this is a fundamental story that we've got to put out. So I'm looking forward to that stream with you, sir.
Yes, and myself, Phil, and myself.
Brilliant. So, guys, listen, with that, I'll let you get back on with your evening. Enjoy yourselves. Stay safe. Stay blessed. And keep thinking good thoughts, positive thoughts. So, with that, I love you all.
I love you. 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 I love you.
Even the pissing haters.
I love you. 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 I love you.
Excellent.
I love that. That is ace.
Excellent. No, it was a fantastic stream, that, guys. Fantastic. Just diverse, different points, wasn't it? You know what I mean? And I know you looked a little bit like,
you know, we're still live.
Are we still live?
Yeah, we're still live.
Well, there you go. It's a good job we weren't slagging off the earth then, wasn't it? See you later, guys. Love you all. Even the pissing haters.
God, I love you, Phil.
Oh, God. Right, I'm getting going, guys. I'll see you later.
Hey, Phil, I'll bell you tomorrow.
All right, then. No worries. See you later, guys. Whoopsie.